Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you.
Be seated. So, Diksha,
Yes, sir.
you are from Pahad.
Yes, sir.
Have you ever been to real hills, up hills?
So I stay in Pithoragarh itself.
Pithoragarh itself?
Yes, sir.
It's a beautiful place.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. People from Uttarakhand have a very typical quality. They are generally very sentimental.
Yes, sir.
Why it is so? There is a reason for this. Generally, they are very sentimental. जल्दी से रो जाएंगे, जल्दी से दुखी हो जाएंगे. Why does it happen?
So, I'm not aware if there is a specific reason, but what I understand is it is probably the empathy or the compassion that they hold because of belonging to a land where, which is said to be the abode of gods. So they have that kind of spirituality, a connection where they are able to understand the human emotions. That is probably the reason that I believe they are more sentimental.
There is another reason.
Yes, sir.
That is that nature is so much in abundance.
Yes, sir.
And everywhere you will find temples, and they are not Nakli type of temples.
Yes, sir.
They will not be having big buildings, nothing. No? They are temples, but they have great aura.
Yes, sir.
That aura makes the people very truthful and simple. They stay in difficult situations and up hills.
Yes, sir.
Neither good water is there, electricity भी आती है नहीं आती है, communication is very poor. If you have to come down, like जोंगा सा लेके वो तो गाड़ी जब आएगी तभी जा सकते हो नीचे.
True, sir.
No direct routes. So all these things, they connect the people there with the nature and God. That makes them sentimental. Okay,
Yes.
that's the reason. Now let us come to some artificial things,
Yes.
artificial things in the world. So you did your MBBS.
Yes.
And from Swami Rama Himalayan University, Himalayan Institute of Medical Sciences. This is your third attempt.
Yes.
What motivates you even after being a doctor? What is the connectivity? I want to understand the connectivity, not the normal answers which are given by most of the students.
Yes, sir.
I want the real thing. What basically connects you with this service, the ethos of service? What happens in the service? What connects you with that?
So the primary motivation that I derived to enter into civil services was during my internship, when I encountered the challenges during the delivery of healthcare system. When I was working in a government medical college as an intern, that was when I realized that as a doctor, I'll be able to contribute at an individual level, treating one patient at a time. Whereas civil services is going to provide me with an opportunity wherein I will be able to empower the doctors with right kind of infrastructure, manpower, and other equipments, so that they are able to serve the society in a better way. And apart from this, the medical ethics that I have incorporated in myself, I believe that if I am able to apply those medical ethics to the service as well, I will be able to do greater good to the mankind. That was the primary reason I decided to appear for the exam.
So what ethics do you think is really imbibed by you, which you want to deploy here?
So medical ethics has been at the heart of practicing medicine, and I have also incorporated some of them, such as the principle of beneficence, that maximum number of people should get benefited from whatever I do.
What is it called in the GS4? Maximum people, maximum benefit.
Sorry, sir. Utilitarianism. Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So one principle is that. Second, sir, is of non-maleficence. That it's not only about benefiting the people, but also doing no harm in my individual capacity. The third principle that I would say would be of providing autonomy to people, giving them more power to choose and make their own decisions. So the other thing that would be is the idea of justice, which is again at the heart of medical ethics, that each and every citizen, especially the vulnerables, the women, are also able to get a social justice which they deserve in the society. So these are the principles I believe.
If I give a statement, then a doctor is supposed to be leading a very virtuous life.
Yes, sir.
What do you understand by it?
So, doctor is supposed to be said to be leading a virtuous life because it is generally seen that the patients who come to doctors are in immense pain, be it physical or mental. And that is the responsibility of the doctor to always uphold the highest standards while treating his or her patient so that he's able to cure the illness as well as do no harm to the patient. So that is what I believe, that he has to be right even when nobody is watching him. So that is the basic premise.
Thank you.
Forensic is one of your interest areas.
Yes, sir.
Where I can learn forensic, I want to acquire more and more knowledge. Where I should go, from where I can acquire this knowledge.
So a lot of forensic knowledge is available in our day-to-day life as well.
No, I want a formal education.
So I am not aware of other specific institute where education can be provided in only forensics. But so forensic medicine is one area where one can study. And
You have not heard about the forensic university?
I'm sorry, sir, I'm not aware.
Not heard. Gujarat has the first forensic science university in India. Now, what are the different branches of forensic science?
So the two that I can remember right now, sorry, the three. One is forensic medicine aspect. Second is toxicology, and there is one aspect which is the criminology part of forensics. These are the three basic ones that I know.
I think you study more on that. It's
Yes.
good. Now, can you tell us for the upliftment of weaker sections? We have several programs, schemes, where we can find them and where they are implemented. First, where we will find them and where they are implemented.
So a lot of schemes for the weaker sections, find them as in, so we will, from the government institutions is at the premise of delivering those services.
For example, which institutions I can find?
So for example, the ration card shops delivering public food security, providing food security to the people. So that can be one institution.
So I can find the scheme at the ration shop?
So the benefit of the scheme is
Benefit of the scheme?
Yes, sir. Will be available through that.
And from where I can find that scheme?
So I am not able to understand.
Any other scheme?
So any other scheme for the benefit of weaker sections?
Yeah, weaker sections.
So it would be from the healthcare system again, where we provide insurance.
Healthcare?
So insurance services to the poor people such as Ayushman Bharat. Or so apart from this, sorry sir, I am not
I think
able,
you study more on
able
that.
to.
Just tell us what is Government of India's strategy to handle the COVID-19? Only important points, 1, 2, 3, 4.
So in the first wave, it was mostly focused on lockdown and containment of the infection. Apart from that, providing support to the weaker sections such as migrants, providing food security to the
Not
people.
only points actually, the important points.
So important points would be with regard to one, that containment of the virus and scaling up the testing. So
First.
Yes.
So first will be containment.
So first will be scaling up and finding out the hotspots and containment. This will be an all-encompassive procedure that will be done simultaneously.
Yeah.
With regard to the health infrastructure.
Yeah, what else?
So second would be with regard to the vulnerables, taking care of them, such as we had the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana.
It is very vague. It is going very vague for a professional like you. We want to hear actually something which is very crisp and focused.
So it would be a targeted approach is what
Yeah,
I
What
would
is
say.
the targeted approach? Correct.
So targeting would be in the areas like health, firstly.
So first it is test,
Yes, sir.
then it is track,
Right.
and then it is
Treat.
treat.
Yes.
And what next to?
I'm sorry, sir.
Vaccination
Yes, sir.
and COVID compliance every year.
Yes.
My last question, what are the child rights?
So child rights refers to those rights that any child would deserve. For example, right to education, right to food. And or basically right to protection is also a part of child rights.
Important law, important legal provisions for the children.
So important legal provision is with regard to child labor. We have the Child Labor Amendment Act of 2016. So we also have right to education for children, imparting education till 14 years of age as a compulsory provision. So we have laws against child marriage, uh, prohibiting marriages for girls less than 18 years of age.
Two importants are still.
So safety measures with regard to POXO Act that we
Yes,
have.
POXO is one.
So these are the ones that I
And
can.
juvenile
Justice Act.
Diksha,
Yes, ma'am.
you've done your medicine.
Yes, ma'am.
From where? Where is this institute situated?
Ma'am,
Located?
this is located 30 kilometers from Dehradun, near the Jolly Grant Airport. This is called the Himalayan Institute of Medical Sciences, Jolly Grant.
Okay. So, does it also include the traditional forms of medicine?
Ma'am, per se in our curriculum, we do not have a separate course where traditional forms are taught. But because the institute belongs to Swami Rama, who is a pioneer in yoga sciences, so we have a separate institute where yoga is taught. And also we have a separate center where homeopathy is treated as is used as one of the forms of treatment. So these are the two areas that.
Not the other forms? Siddha, Unani, Ayurveda?
Ma'am, they are not treated, they are not used in the institution per se, but we do believe that they can be used in the treatment process.
Especially, I'm asking it in the context of the Himalayan Institute, if it is there, and we have a lot of medicinal plants.
Yes, ma'am.
Which have been proven even by modern science, so they are not incorporated in this.
Ma'am, we are currently not using them in the treatment process of the part of medicine curriculum that we follow, but other institutions around the region, we do have institutions. We have a Ayush center in the vicinity where such practices are followed.
Has the government of India, in the light of COVID, made any amendments in the practice of allopathic along with the traditional forms?
Ma'am, there is no specific, I'm not aware of the specific law that has been passed in this regard. But what we have seen often in the practice is that government has been recommending use of certain immunity boosters, like what we commonly use, even Kada, which was prescribed in the hospitals, or use of Chawanprash as immune boosters. So that is what the government has been. It's not a government stand per se, but the doctors generally believe that since there is no harm, it can be used to boost the immunity and protect against the infection.
Can the doctors of these alternate forms be allowed to prescribe allopathic medicines?
Ma'am, as per the rules, they should not be because they practice a different.
No, I'm not asking they should or they shouldn't.
Ma'am, they
what
are
is
not.
the current situation?
They are not, but we often see that they tend to prescribe medicines from the allopathic system as well.
Okay, what is yoga?
Ma'am, yoga is a science which believes in the unity of mind, body, and soul. It believes in the union of Purush and Prakriti, which is the basic premise that says that the person practicing yoga not only strengthens the physical body but achieves a union with the nature, which helps his or her attain a higher state of life.
Okay, so you passed out in 2018?
Ma'am, I finished my internship in 2019. That's effectively the year I completed my MBBS.
How long is the internship?
1 year of compulsory internship.
1 year of compulsory. And where did you do?
Ma'am, from Government Medical College in Dehradun.
Dehradun
Yes.
itself. Okay. So from 19, we are in the year?
2022.
What have we been doing?
I have been preparing for the civil services examination for the last 3 years.
You don't believe that all work and no play makes Diksha a dull girl?
Ma'am, this was the calling at the time of COVID, especially. That is when I decided, on the advice of a senior friend, that I decided to work with him in his hospital because I was staying in Pithoragarh. But it was a voluntary service, so I have not mentioned it because there was no certificate that was allotted for the same.
Okay. And what happens to your oath? If you want to now move on to civil services, what happens to your oath?
Ma'am, the oath still remains because the oath is to do the larger good. So, be it in medicine or in civil services, that will be the premise that I will hold forever.
But it is not medicine specific?
Ma'am, certainly the text of the oath is with regard to how a doctor should treat a patient. But the essence of the oath is what I believe is more important. And that is what I have imbibed, and I will continue to follow the same.
Okay. From Ukraine, a lot of medical students have returned.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you think? Already there is a shortage of medical seats. So how can we adjust them? How can we accommodate them? And is the foreign, medical education at par with our Indian education?
Ma'am, the first question of accommodating the students, this has been an unprecedented crisis because the war could not have been predicted, or it was not possible for us to avert it. And since those students are coming from Ukraine, I believe that it becomes the responsibility of the government to do something for them. In that regard, I am of the opinion that we can hold a entrance exam or a sort of screening test for them, and those who are able to qualify that exam can be accommodated as a one-time measure in the respective government institutions that we have in the country. It is mainly because as of now, what the situation that we see, that the infrastructure in Ukraine is devastated, so it will be nearly impossible for them to return in the times to come. Second question that you asked about difference in the education system, it has been found that countries in the West and especially Ukraine, they also follow a American system of medicine. The difference lies with regard to the diseases that are more prevalent in the Western system. In the Indian system, if I can state by an example, tuberculosis is more common, which is not as common as in the West. So our focus is on those kind of illnesses or their treatment, whereas that is the difference in the West. And often we see that such medical students also face difficulty in clearing the FMGE exam. So that is one thing that is at the premise of, or that is the basic difference between the two systems.
Thank you, Diksha.
Thank you.
Diksha, Dr. Diksha. Rather.
Yes.
Dr. Diksha, we just now discussed about the problems and challenges faced by the aspirants, MBBS aspirants.
Yes.
They have no, they don't succeed in getting admission in their own country, and so they go out
Yes.
to places like Ukraine, and they are those degrees are not recognized in India, so they have to appear for some examinations. That's something very insulting to the students also, I feel. So you are also aware that in India the admission process is very, very corrupt, especially in the private sector hospitals. I hope you will agree with this.
Yes.
So, what is the way out?
So as you said, it is certainly true that private sector of medical education, they have been charging high capitation fees and providing, in the name of luxury service, they have been charging higher fees. And that is the reason that a lot of students are not able to appear for the exam or get admission in such colleges. So in my opinion, the way out is one that we have already started, but it is not being implemented correctly, is the NEET exam or having a common entrance exam. Second thing that the NMC is recently doing is capping 50% of the seats in which they are supposed to charge the fees at par with medical colleges. So that is one thing. So the third thing I believe is the government also needs to support the private institutions, because if we keep the capitation and the luxury fees aside, the cost for maintenance of infrastructure also is very high in medical education. So if the government is able to provide the right kind of support to the private medical institutions, they will be able to accommodate more students in time to come.
Okay, should we not nationalize the medical education or health education?
It is, yes, sir, that can also be one of the way out, because we have often seen that the states, for example, recently Tamil Nadu has been opposing the NEET bill. So that is also one of the issue that comes up. But for that, again, the second thing that needs to be corrected is the difference between the curriculum or the way the exam is conducted, because the basic objection that has been raised is with regard to the state board students being at disadvantage because of this. So that will need a overhauling in the education system or how the exam is taken. That also has to be changed if we bring it to a national level.
I don't want to cast any aspersion on any community, but should we have reservation for the SC/ST categories in medical educations?
So as of today, reservation is a form of affirmative action that the state has been taking. What I believe, in my opinion, that reservation is right, but it needs a overhauling, in the sense that we have seen that some people from the community have moved up the ladder in terms of their economic parameters. So that is where we need to bring about a new yardsticks for social mapping. That is one area. Second, also the reservation, rather than reservation, we need to overhaul our education policy so that the students from the backward communities such as ST/SC are able to get the right kind of education right from the childhood, so that the merit is not compromised when they come to a professional course like medicine.
Okay. One last question.
Yes.
In the Western countries, I am told that in a private sector doctor can be sued for negligence, and he has to give compensation to the patient's skin
Yes.
in case of any problems or death or whatever. Such a practice is not valid in India, is not prevailing in India.
So medical negligence, even in India, is recognized as a wrong, as a crime. However, the issue lies with the implementation, because we have often seen that the process is so delayed that it takes years on to get the relief that the victim deserves. However, this is not the case in the West. They generally tend to get their relief in a time-bound manner. That is why that makes the process more effective compared to what we have in the Indian setup.
Okay, one last question. In medico-legal cases, it has been seen, especially in the private sector, not in government sector, that the treatment is not administered till the money is deposited. I think it's a open secret.
Yes.
What is the way out? Supreme Court has given clear guidelines, but these are not being complied with.
So there are certain reasons why this happens. One is because it takes, for example, with regard to the insurance that the people save, so it takes a lot of time to claim the insurance. That is why the private hospitals do not want to start the treatment. Second is also an element of greed that some institutions or hospitals are involved in. So in my opinion, the way out here is to have a uniform insurance policy for all the citizens in the country. What we say is a concept of universal healthcare, where the insurance claim is settled right on time, and the government is directly providing the payment to the hospital rather than submitting the bills at one time and the patient taking the claim in the second time. This is one possible way out that I see for the present problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Doctor. I am enjoying your responses to most of the questions.
Thank you.
Doing very well. Did you get some chance to watch or participate in the working of primary health centers during this period?
Yes, sir. When I was posted in the community medicine department, we have a 15-day of compulsory posting in a primary healthcare setup. So apart from that, I have also been a part of the field visits to the primary healthcare center as a part of the community medicine department.
Okay. As a doctor and as a future civil servant,
Yes, sir.
I would be keen to know, from you,
Yes, sir.
that what innovative steps you would suggest, additions to the existing structure of primary health centers, so as to make them largely self-contained?
So there are a number of things that come to my mind. I would like to start with upgradation of infrastructure because a lot of doctors are
That
willing
is
to work.
understood.
So other thing that comes to my mind again would be with regard to what I will call a service area approach. Right now, since India faces a crunch of doctors, what we can do is that probably the doctors that are posted in the community health centers there can be definite postings wherein alternate days or 2 to 3 days are assigned wherein a doctor goes to those primary healthcare centers and treat the patients or address their concerns at that level. Second innovative way that could be out is use of telemedicine as one of the treatment options.
Telemedicine is a good idea, but I would interrupt here.
Yes.
Like, what new services, what new departments could be added by either by way of what you suggest, that temporary and sort of visits,
Yes, sir.
not a permanent regular staff, but what all new departments could be added so as to make them really useful? They are the first responders in any situation.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So the three most important departments, in my opinion, would be gynecology, dedicated gynecologist.
Very good.
Second would be pediatrician because
Very
dealing
good.
specifically
Yes.
with ARI and diarrhea.
Most important.
And third, I would say is the radiologist because again, to treat either gynecological problems or pediatric problems, certain basic investigations which we cannot certainly avoid. For example, an ultrasound in an antenatal patient or a basic X-ray in case of a person suffering from respiratory illness. So these are the three primary areas that I would want to incorporate.
And medicine.
So medicine, certainly a general MBBS doctor would cater to that requirement.
Generally,
Yes, sir.
I mean, more of a whether in between visits by
Yes, sir.
specialists.
Certainly, sir.
And I would say one area that probably you would like to consider, 24/7 emergency.
Yes, sir.
And
Certainly.
it's not difficult to, operate, and
Yes, sir.
probably one of the most important areas.
Yes, sir.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you. But I have another small question.
Yes, sir.
It has been reported that some areas with better green cover had a lesser incidence of COVID-19 cases.
Yes, sir.
Are you aware of this study?
Sir, I'm not aware of the study, but
What is the connect?
so with my understanding, what I can connect is, as it was said in a lot of studies, not specifically this study, but the other studies, that if we are living in a closed room, that is where the chances of transmission of a virus is very high. So if the green cover is more, the rate of purification of the air because of the process that is involved, photosynthesis, that will be occurring at a faster rate. So that
Oxygen.
yes, sir, the availability of oxygen. So one would be that, and second, also the availability of clean air will be available more in those particular areas. So the problem that we saw of the dipping of saturation levels of oxygen.
But has it been globally sort of examined or studied?
So I'm not aware of any research or project because I haven't read specific study in this regard.
Do have a look at this area.
Sure, sir.
I think there are some studies both within India and outside.
Sure, sir. I'll read about it.
Thank you.
Please wait outside, we shall call you back.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Better.
Thank you, sir.
So, how did you do in your written examination?
So I am not sure because this is the first time that I've written mains, but I am hopeful that I must have done better than I was expecting it to be.
Okay, how did you do in GS3?
So considering this year's paper, I think I have done fair enough. I mean, at least I was able to answer all the questions.
All the questions, that
Yes,
is
sir.
good, fantastic. And GS4?
So GS4, I believe, was one of my strong areas.
Okay.
On basis of the assessment of the mock papers that I wrote.
That I immediately understood when you entered the room. So I understood it.
So probably I am again hoping GS4 that I would have done better compared to other people. So.
Okay, good, very good. So you will score very good marks. And what about essay?
So essay again, because ethics and essay are more
Both the essays were from ethics this time.
Yes, that is what I thought was an advantage, because if had it been a pre-prepared topic, so a lot of people would have been able to write better. But since it was more on philosophical lines, so it allowed me to enter write more dimensions and explore more.
You know, I
areas.
tell everyone, every student, that you should pay a lot of attention to GS4 because it is having 250 plus 250.
Yes, sir.
Approximately 500 marks are covered by this subject.
Yes.
Okay, so our observation about you is that you are excellent candidate.
Thank you.
You can face any situation in your life easily.
Thank you.
And we are very hopeful that you will perform as you are performing now in the main interview, which is held in UPSC. Now, when is it?
So 17th of May.
7 days, so sufficient time is there.
Yes.
So we want to give you some inputs, although you don't require many, but even then we want to give you, because our objective is that once there is a child which touches us, our heart,
Yes.
we should give that child something more, right? Now, the issue is that you should be having total idea of our border with China. The traditional things, that there is a confusion that Chinese think that Nepal thinks that this is the part of Nepal,
Yes.
and all those things. Those issues should be very clear to you.
Yes.
Very genuine issues, right? And genuinely you should find the answers. Secondly, education in hill areas. What are the issues? How can those be resolved? I have visited Champavat
Yes, sir.
last year. It's a beautiful place.
Yes, sir.
Although it's a small place,
Yes, sir, but
it's a very beautiful place.
Yes.
Although for tourism purpose it is not developed,
Certainly.
but it is gem of a place. But I noticed one thing, that even the electricity supply, telephone connections, they're very weak. Everything is very weak there.
Yes, sir.
What is the reason that these areas are not being developed, which have such huge potential for development, right? So you have to identify so many such places in the state. You identify 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places, not more than 5. What are the potential there, and what do you think is your plan? Don't bother about theoretical things. What is written in books, newspapers, no need of going to. What is your thought about it? Okay. Now, something more, that we want to make you gender neutral as officer, my man, right? We want that you should be able to communicate to the board that you want to become my man for the poor people, the downtrodden, sufferers who have not been helped by anyone in any department, no remedy. So I want to become my man for them. So when they come to me, my office, they have the confidence. Yes, here is Diksha, ma'am. Diksha ma'am बैठी है collector. She will certainly help us.
Yes.
She will put in best possible efforts. Okay?
Yes.
This is what I want to develop into. And what will I do for that? What you will do?
I am not sure, but I just want to ask if my answers did reflect a bias.
Just speak out.
So, no, I'm just asking if what I was answering, did it reflect a sort of bias?
No, nothing. But you just tell me, what will you do to become that, my man?
So, probably be more approachable to the people who come to me, more empathetic, be able to communicate to them in their manner, and
something more you can do. You will have to do basically.
so more of innovation in the way the things are.
More than that, you will have to approach them at their doors. You will have to visit more and more villages.
Yes.
and you have to sit with them on the ground. This point is very important, that I will be sitting, sir, on the ground with them,
Yes.
so that they identify themselves with me. They open up, the women of that area,
Yes.
whom no one is bothered about. They will be able to tell their problems to me. They will be able to tell truthfully about functioning of the government departments, there is schemes implementation to me. And that input which I will receive by sitting with them on the ground, I will even allow them to touch me.
Yes.
You will find it, because I have seen my younger officers. I have experimented these things with my officers in Rajasthan,
Yes.
the younger officers, including Tina. I forced her a lot, and now she feels so happy about it. So once you go to the village, so women will try to see how it is possible that collector is sitting with us. They would like to feel, वो आगे कपड़ा पकड़ेगा, कुछ करेगी
Yes.
lady, कुछ करेगी. So that is the thing which will reveal the actual problems of that area. So sir, I want to know the actual problems. So I will use these problems in two ways. One, individual problems being faced by the people.
Yes.
Secondly, while I am touring around the area, I will determine whether there is some pattern of the problems. So for the whole district, I will be able to identify the pattern by doing this.
Okay.
I will be able to identify the pattern of the problems. It means I will be knowing about something which has to be done for the district as a whole, to take care of the people who are considering me as my man. Are you understanding?
Yes, sir.
What depthful thing I am telling you?
Yes, sir.
Once this happens, I will try to re-engineer few processes. Okay, which bring people much more closer to me, and their problems are resolved, and they are not forced to come to the office of the SDM, office of the collector. They waste their full day's wages, 2 days wages. They have to stay somewhere, they have to have food somewhere, and then collector meets only for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. I don't want that situation.
Yes.
I will put in my best efforts to attain this situation. So what will it result into ultimately?
So me becoming their part of their own community.
One. So you will form, right, you will form Ohana,
Sorry,
right, OHANA. So I will form Ohana with them. Ohana is a dictionary word basically. Ohana is a family where no one is left behind. So my objective of doing all these things is to form Ohana with the people of my district. Understanding the concept?
Yes.
They will become my ambassadors. If anything wrong goes in that village, any corruption is happening, any scheme is being ill implemented, I will be the first person to know, rather than being communicated by police or by SDM or by anyone else.
Yes, sir.
So my information network with the help of these people will be superb. That's what I want to achieve in my life
Yes.
by entering into IAS. फिर आपको कोई नहीं कह सकता कि डॉक्टर होके क्यों बनना चाहती हो, ये क्यों बनना चाहती हो, वो बनना चाहिए. These questions they arise, na?
Yes, sir.
They will vanish, and you will gain a very strong position in the interview board. Are you understanding what is happening actually
Yes,
in
sir.
this?
I did. Yes.
This will put you on a different footing. And don't forget to mention Ohana.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Don't forget. Somehow you should put this word in the interview. Ohana means the family where no one is left behind. This is a very great concept.
Yes, sir.
Right? Anything else in your mind?
So just want to clarify, you told me about borders with China. Were you referring to the Kalapani district?
Yes, Karama district.
So secondly, another question with why civil services, what ma'am asked. Because I have been told at a lot of places that my answer does not make a lot of sense. So I just wanted to ask if...
ये आंसर है. This is the answer. जो आपने लिखा है ना अभी.
Yes, sir.
This is the answer. My man.
Okay.
My man and Ohana. Because Ohana I have not told to anyone, remember it.
Okay.
I have interviewed so many people here, we have interviewed. This concept is, you are the first child, remember it,
Thank you, sir.
to whom I have told this concept.
Yes, sir.
This will help you greatly. Okay? Anything else?
So second, what sir was asking, I could not really understand what sir was trying to ask. You asked me, where will you find the schemes?
Government schemes.
So were you referring to the portal or the website?
You see, government portals, part of the schemes will be in budget documents, part of the schemes will be on the respective ministries.
Yes. Okay. That.
Right?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Your success in civil service will be a loss to the medical profession.
No, sir. I think it will be a.
There is another Joshi from Uttarakhand. He is going to become another IAS officer like you. Right?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Unacademy. Let's crack it.